It's the Brellock crew from NB here at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop in Chippewa. Thanks to Alex Winger, got some great gear. Looking forward to fueling up on some great food. And I think we've got one more stop to make, and that'll be a surprise. But right now, here's young Carson, his son. Tell him what you got.
I got 2 chili cheese hot dogs and 2 chili cheese fries, or cheese fries with ketchup.
So here, if we were investing the food that we have eaten, Dale, at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop through the years, how many of these locations do you think we could own?
Oh, at least a solid 2.
Listen, you got the big game coming up, but who wants to do all of the work? Just hit one of the drive-thrus, load up, head home. I think the chili dog here is probably the best chili dog anywhere in the universe.
Pretty close.
Really? Now, Terry Francona, I gotta mention him because his sister liked a couple of videos today. Do you realize that this man probably would manage again for just a life supply of Brighton Hot Dog Shop chili dogs?
I'm for it.
I am too. What's this mean to you, young man, this place?
I eat here a lot, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. It's very great. Everything here is delicious, especially the burgers.
Where do you get the radio voice at?
Yeah, I don't know.
So explain to me the children, the pecking order, grandchildren, just to get me caught up, please. And of course, the great Debo family, who I know and love, and Mayflower moving what he does every day. That's why he has the muscles. So please tell me about your crew, your clan.
Well, Carson is the youngest of my 4 boys. He's 18. I have Dustin, who's 21, DJ, who's 25, and Tyler, who is 30. And then I have Kennedy, my oldest granddaughter, will be 9. Weston will be 8. And Trace will be 5. Avery, my youngest granddaughter, just turned 4. Carson, obviously all my boys played sports, but it's one of those things where each one of my boys are different. They all have different attributes that make them unique and individual, but they're all the same. Their hearts, their demeanor, and their mannerisms. I couldn't be more proud.
Well, you're a good dad. Listen,
thank you.
I want to talk a lot of football here in just a couple of moments, but community, who we are, New Brighton. We were just talking. Tell everybody about your significant other, your girlfriend who's filming this. First, last name.
Riley Porto. We've been together for about 5 years now.
That's pretty impressive.
Isn't it?
Better track record than you and I have had. Although you're doing good now. Go ahead. That's wonderful. Yeah. Now, we're related somehow. You can talk, so just talk. How are we related? Everybody's related to me.
My cousin is Brandon Pratte, and then I think if I have it right, his grandfather, I think you're his cousin?
Gotta be. Gotta be. It's all good.
Everybody's related.
But this is such a unique place. But one of the things that really connects us from Chippewa to Vanport to Elwood City and to New Brighton, and obviously other locations in Cranberry and Salem, Ohio, and Greentree, it's the Brighton Hot Dog Shop. I mean, it's a gathering place. How many times have we just stopped for coffee? It's incredible.
Tons.
Tons. But the best experience is really coming in and sitting down.
Yeah, back in the day.
So why don't you go ahead and start eating, and then we'll bring you in on the conversation, because I actually pay to watch people eat their food. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you prevent all the calories. But I will say this, wedding soup to go tonight, little chili to go for sure. All right, I want to go over some of these NFL honors and just get some of your thoughts. We're going to be all over the page with this thing. We're going to talk old football, new football, get your thoughts on the game. Walter Payton, Man of the Year, went to the Steelers, Ohio State grad, defensive tackle Cam Hayward. What has he meant to the Steelers organization?
Iconic. He's been one of those players where you can't mention the defense without saying his name. And what a great award and a privilege that he deserves. I mean, he's been epic in the community.
Epic, no doubt. MVP, Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who continues to get roughed up in the media because he hasn't won the big game. But make no mistake about it, the young man who's still a young man out of Louisville can play the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he proved this year that with his on-field performances that he's hard to stop. You know, he beat San Francisco. Not a lot of teams did that. Buffalo. You could argue the MVP till you're blue in the face. I mean, but realistically, what it comes down to is, I think, him finalizing it once he beat San Francisco in San Francisco.
So Flacco is your comeback player of the year. What do you think? Stretch.
Yeah, it's a little egregious almost, but when you think about the category and who else was in it, I mean, you almost have to give it to him because of the only 3 or 4 games that he played. Is it really a comeback? Not more like him in a replacement situation where they just plugged him in? I mean, could you argue Baker Mayfield couldn't be?
Very good point. And who's about ready to get a nice contract?
Oh, yeah,
Baker
which is crazy.
I know. NFL Offensive Player of the Year. No one runs the ball better. Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
Go ahead, Carson. Jump in. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah, I think CMC is the best running back in the league currently, and he will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest.
You think so?
Well, the ceiling's there. I mean, no end in sight if he stays healthy.
And that's the key. Coach of the Year, Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski.
Disagree. D'Amico should have got it.
Houston.
100%.
That's what I like about this family. They just tell it the way it is. Can you imagine dinner at their table? All right. Defensive Rookie of the Year, the Texans defensive end, Will Anderson Jr.
Deserved.
A force.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a monster.
All right, and speaking of a monster and a force, you know exactly where I'm going with this. The Defensive Player of the Year, Cleveland Browns defensive end, Myles Garrett. Should have been TJ.
Hands down. But here we are, biased.
That's
slightly.
Okay. That's what you do.
If you go stat for stat, it was a no-brainer. TJ should have won it.
All right.
I think the NFL just kind of got tired of the Watt name because of his brother. And who am I? Who's voting? You know what I mean? Like, get some sportscasters out here to actually chip in instead of stat guys, if you will.
All right, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud. Pretty
solid.
Prolific, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Assistant Coach of the Year, Cleveland Browns defensive coordinator. Been around a long time, Jim Schwartz.
He had a head coaching gig.
He did for like a cup of coffee.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't know the dynamic of the game, but yeah, kudos to him.
So I heard this earlier today on my way out here to the hot dog shop, and it makes sense. Mike Lombardi was talking to Christopher Russo. Big fan of both of those gentlemen. Dwight Freeney goes in, Andre Johnson goes in, Randy Gradishar goes in, Patrick Willis goes in, Steve McMichael, who's dealing with some health issues. We wish him the best, former Chicago Bear. Devin Hester, best returner ever in the game, Julius Peppers. But what they made a point is, how do you put some of these guys in, and Antonio Gates is not in there? Tremendous.
This one's a good one, because a lot of times, if you don't have the stats to back you up or the Super Bowl win, you don't just get in, but you think about how the Hall of Fame works. You have to put X amount of players in, okay? Devin Hester, he's a one-off. Like, he's a freak. He's not getting in because he was a very good receiver or a very good cornerback. He's getting in because he is a dynamic, prolific special teams player.
Right.
When you talk about that, it's like some of these guys get the participation trophy notice, basically saying you get to go to the Hall of Fame because we're short guys to go in, and this year, say Hines Ward wasn't on the ballot, or you know certain things where you should be elite to make a Hall of Fame. So if this year there's only 2 elite players, those are the only 2 players that should actually make the Hall of Fame. Stop saying that you have to have 7 to get in, because now you're candy coating it, and it's sometimes frustrating. But Antonio Gates, he's one of the best to ever do it as a tight end. He should be in there if you go based on.
Never played it down at college football, played basketball.
Yes, he did. Kent, right?
Right, yep. Where Julian Edelman went. You kind of remind me a little of him. That's why you're
a little
here
taller.
I know. I tell you, I like that guy. He's got some stroke to him, especially with what he's doing in the media world now. Okay, before we talk the game, greatest Steeler memories. So you're a youngster, so it's got to be Big Ben, Jerome Bettis. Come on, jump in.
Well, personally, I'm not a Steelers fan.
Okay, you can leave.
I'm a Miami Dolphins fan all the way.
Oh, good.
I have been since I was, as long as I can remember.
And you weren't around really at the height. Did Marino have anything to do with this or no? Why Miami?
I didn't. I looked at the TV when I was a little kid, and I just thought, hey, I like them colors, and I stuck with it ever since.
So you think they're going to be able to take it to the next step with Tua? You think this is, I mean, Tyreek Hill, are they ready? If not now, when?
Well, I think that Tua is a great quarterback, but his arm just isn't there. Mm-mm. It's just not there. I mean, I don't know who else would take over for him, but...
He's a what?
You could go rounds and rounds with this one. You know, I graduated high school in Hawaii. Tua is from Hawaii. Tua is a good quarterback. His downside is he's left-handed. Okay? Mike Vick, same thing. He was a scrambler, left-handed. Can they throw the ball? Absolutely. He wouldn't be on the platform that he's on if he couldn't. It's just a matter of, you know, is it play calling? I mean, they got pummeled by the Chiefs, and they shouldn't have. So,
go ahead.
Also, I think he's never played in cold weather. He's not used to cold weather. Like, he's from Hawaii. He plays for Miami. He's used to
Alabama.
Used to the hot weather, not used to the cold. So when playoff time comes around and it's cold, he's not going to be
That was extremely cold, though.
Yeah.
That would have been hard for anybody.
Okay. Steelers news and notes just hired 3 more coaches.
Seen that.
I mean, it just never ends. Arthur Smith, now the guy to take Kenny Pickett to the promised land. Are you still in on Pickett, or do they make a move? I was listening to Coach, many coaches of late, talking about all the skill sets and what are out there. Nobody ever mentions his name. So does that kind of give you a signal that maybe it is time to move on? But do you move on? I mean, he's only been in the league a handful of years. Let's talk about Justin Fields. Lombardi was saying today he believes he's good as gone. Luke Getsy from Pittsburgh is now with the Vegas Raiders, and if he doesn't take him, that means that maybe nobody has any faith in this guy, and he ends up just going off somewhere. But is it worth giving a first-round pick so they can get, you know, that Caleb Williams and maybe Marvin Harrison? I mean, what do you do if you're the Steelers?
That's a good one, because the Pittsburgh Steelers tradition is not giving up. Okay?
No.
They drafted him in the first round for a reason. Whether that be, you know, a coach thought he was going to be the next Ben, if they thought, oh, maybe he has higher accolades here versus there. When we talk about the trades, I mean, there's rumors going around Justin Fields. We could bring in Kirk Cousins. We could bring in Ryan Tannehill. If you do that, you have taken all of the wind out of his sail.
Yeah, he's done. Deflated.
Mentally, it'll be the Mason Rudolph effect. Now, is Mason in line for a payday?
But why do they want him back? Because of those 3 games?
Well, he knows the system.
Right.
He's viable. You know what I mean? You're not going to can the guy that's been here for 5 years unless he's horrible to bring in the possibly could be the next. We did it with Trubisky. Okay, where did he come from? Chicago. You think we're going to bring in Justin Fields? We're not a running quarterback offense. Especially now with our new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. What do you do? He's a running
guy. Seriously, why do you hire him? 41.
Well, it was Tomlin's decision.
I know,
remember?
I'm just curious.
So he hired him probably because he has to keep a lot of people happy. Now you have Najee, who is obviously now more happy that he did what he did towards the tail end of the season. But all Steelers fans watch the game, think like, oh my gosh, Najee's been terrible. He's not playing good. He's not running. There was no blocking. He doesn't hit the holes. He goes east to west instead of north to south. Arthur Smith, his track record says running back laden. That's what he does. And in order to set your pass up, you have to be a running team. Okay. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, listen, I don't think they're that far away, but they got to get the quarterback thing straight now. Because the one thing I've learned in this league, it all comes down to the person who's throwing the ball.
They could be dynamic next year. I mean, I'm telling you, dynamic.
Help me out on this one. That's what I like to hear.
Just saying, like with what they have, if they keep everything intact, if they go out and they draft what's his name, Mims or whatever from Georgia.
Correct, the offensive lineman.
What, are you kidding me? Like, oh my gosh, same peas of a pod. They played in the same system. You get that protection, anybody could quarterback for you as long as you're blocking.
Joey Porter ready, next step.
Oh yeah, I agree.
TJ retires a Steeler. Or
I don't see why he wouldn't.
Okay. All right. We'll see. All right. Let's talk about this game. I mean, I still understand when you got Patrick Mahomes how you're an underdog, but that's still the line. That's where we're at. So make some sense of this and how you think this thing's going to unfold on Sunday.
I really think, I mean, obviously, I think the 49ers come out victor.
No kidding.
Yeah. I think Christian McCaffrey even wins MVP.
Keeps that offense off the field, too, because of him grinding that football.
Well, he can catch and run.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you compare the two rosters, San Francisco's roster is better, but it is Patrick Mahomes. You can't discredit him. Can he beat him? Sure. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens did in San Francisco. Well, this isn't in San Francisco. This is the biggest stage that they're ever going to play on, and some of those guys may have been there before. Some of these guys may never get back. So you got to leave it out on the line. Defense-wise, I think it's kind of like up in the air when you think about Kansas City's pass defense versus San Francisco's rush defense. The Detroit Lions came in there, and I think Gibbs and Montgomery had 180 yards combined against the San Francisco 49ers. They almost lost that game. How do you run on a top 3 defense like that? Like it's nobody's business. Now, Isaiah Pacheco, he could run bonkers.
He's a hard runner, too.
He's an angry runner. You know what I mean? Like
he said he's channeled Marshawn Lynch. That's where he's kind of...
He's like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never know. He don't stop. He just keeps going. And Christian McCaffrey, he's just like the upper echelon. He can see a
think
whole
about
bit
Lynch,
more.
what he did making that move.
Because
that's a running back.
Absolutely. John Lynch is a genius.
He is.
Genius.
He plays hard just like he did as a player.
I've always been a Tampa Bay guy when
Dungy.
when Dungy was down there. Yeah, so I mean, John Lynch got it down pat, you know. When you think about quarterbacks, you have Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's discounting Brock Purdy because he's Mr. Irrelevant. There was a guy in the league a couple years ago. There was a guy in the league a couple years back. He's been retired for like 2 that was also picked in, I think, the 6th round.
Yeah, Mr. Brady.
Yeah, there you have it. So you want to sleep on him, sleep on him. You get the opportunity just the same way that the other team does. Go out there, do your thing, and get it done.
All right, young man, who do you think?
Well, my final prediction, I'm going to go 34-31. 49ers win.
Why?
Well, I think Brock Purdy's going to prove that he's not just a system quarterback, and he has weapons all around him. He has Deebo Samuel. He has George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, Christian McCaffrey. It's top running back. They have a pretty solid defense, but Chiefs also have a very good defense, elite. So, might be kind of tough, but I think they can get it done.
I wouldn't say elite. I'd say
they got Chris Jones. That's about it.
Chris Jones is good.
I don't know. They're
Snead, what's his name? Legarius Snead, second year.
5.
Couple good cornerbacks.
They also have a pretty good defensive coach too.
Oh yeah,
that guy's strong.
Spagnuolo's been.
Ooh, he's our age. My age, not your age. My age. But Mike Zimmer's 67 like me, and he's going to be the new guy in Dallas. How about these offense coordinator? How about in college football today? Chip Kelly leaves UCLA, going to Ohio State. You got Bill O'Brien, who got the job.
Crazy.
He's going to Boston College as the head coach.
Crazy.
It's off the charts.
Yeah, it's crazy. This merry-go-round tonight, and obviously Harbaugh set the whole spiel for everybody to do whatever.
He's got a quarterback.
He does, but you know, I heard some people talking about him drafting McCarthy and trading Herbert. Hey, Pittsburgh, pick up the phone. Mark Cohen.
Can I tell you something? Now I want to work this weekend because I can't wait to talk about that on Sunday on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. Hey,
trade the farm for Justin Herbert.
Game changer.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many times he's the prototype?
Oh, he is.
And that I like to talk about Drake May being like 6'4". You need somebody. Listen, I'm sorry. You got to be at least 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, Ben, Josh Allen.
Right.
Huge. My size.
Could you imagine that? Now see, just when I think I've figured it all out. Last thing, because you're so proud of what you do. And I love what you do. And I love the Debo name. I love the Mayflower name. Every time I see a truck, I hear air brakes, I think of them. So I'm shuffling chairs around in here because, listen, I work alone now. There's no more TV crew. There's no more, makeup person. Those days are long gone. And I like moving, fixing, and building. And so I'm sliding some chairs around, moving some tables. And I thought, if I would even ask Dale how many times you've done that. You can't even, there's not even a number. Have you ever got hurt?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a good back now? Or
No, I had 2 surgeries on my back, L4 and 5.
So are you supposed to lift with your legs?
Yeah.
Because I never know I'm going to have to move. You know what I mean?
You're supposed to lift with your legs.
But you just get in a hurry and one wrong move?
No, it was an extreme situation with a 1,300 or 1,400 pound safe that beat me.
Brian used to tell me stories about, and Adam, of course, back in the Peluso moving days. I don't think people understand, and how many people I graduated with would get these summer jobs at Pelusos, and they'd be like, I love it, but I don't want to do that my entire life. But you take such pride, and people give you such open door policies and the privacy and respect, and you being his son, you have to understand.
He works for me.
I kind of figured he was nodding. Honestly, that relationship is everything, isn't it?
Yeah. My 3 youngest work for me, DJ, Dustin, and Carson. Dustin's actually on his way to Milwaukee. He was in St. Louis yesterday delivering a household.
Well, you guys have traveled all over, so let me ask you, what are sports fans in some of these towns like? Can you compare them anything to the Steelers fans? No? Best to worst, do you think? Fan base.
Worst?
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
They're just angry.
They're terrible.
Angry.
Every sport in Philadelphia.
They booed Santa, so what can I say, right?
Right.
How are the cheesesteaks in Philly, though?
They're good.
Oh, I bet.
They're really good.
I bet.
It's up for discussion who has the best, but
I love it.
There's some good food there.
All right, let's talk about some of the better fans, the ravenous fans. Where?
Dallas is always up there as far as flirting with trying to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, America's team. Well, they're only America's team because we didn't want to be America's team. And here we are. We're America's team.
Skip Bayless.
We travel so hard.
Skip Bayless and then we're talking today on Undisputed and Mike Orton going back and forth about 78 Steelers, and Skip Bayless said, as far as he is concerned, best eclectic group of talent at one time. Terry Bradshaw was all this, all everything. And Urban and them were going at it. No, our 95 team. And then they were talking about the Steelers and Neil O'Donnell. I forgot Neil threw 3 picks in that game.
Larry Washington twice.
They said like he was throwing through. I mean, I forgot about that.
Right in the numbers.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Not a Steeler to be seen.
Oh, that's the other thing, too. And I love Ben Roethlisberger. Always have. I still don't think people understand that was a once-in-a-lifetime deal.
Couldn't agree with you more.
What made him so good?
First, his stature, his size, his ability to throw the ball. Like the other day I was watching a video on Facebook or whatnot, and they were showing the skills quarterback, the quarterback skills competition from Aloha Stadium when it was still the Pro Bowl in Hawaii.
Right.
And his first throw was like 78 yards. Just literally 3 steps, boom. Being from Hawaii, or living in Hawaii, I've been to the Pro Bowl a couple times, and I've got to see this stuff. And to watch it again and think of the ability of Ben, according to his class, when you have Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, you had some very, very, very good company coming out of that class. He was just head and shoulders above them. What made him dynamic was he was 6'4", 250 pounds, could scramble and throw a dime.
Ooh, he could. That pass he hit Santonio Holmes with in the Super Bowl, to this day, it gives me chills when I think about it.
Loved it.
What do you want to say about Big Ben? Then we're going.
I think he's a great quarterback. Definitely top 5, top 7. Definitely up there in the quarterbacks. He always had pretty decent weapons. Great defense behind him, too.
Can Kenny Pickett work out?
Anything's possible. They brought in a quarterback's coach today.
I know.
From San Diego.
I know.
Or Los Angeles, I'm sorry.
Hey, man.
Guess what?
Hey, man.
There's a guy rumored to be from Los Angeles.
But can I tell you something? Do you think that Harbaugh has that much faith in McCarthy? They've actually put him in there with, all the other guys they've been talking about. Williams, Maine, Penix, Pratt out of Tulane. I mean, all these guys.
He knows his system. He's a yes sir, no sir kind of quarterback for Harbaugh. Harbaugh was a quarterback.
And he brought in his Michigan defensive coach.
Maybe he sees something that somebody else doesn't, and maybe he has the secret potion.
And they dump a big paycheck.
A huge paycheck. And a potential even bigger paycheck if his performance latent. If Herbert literally would take his team to an AFC playoff, like a championship, that check is going to be this long.
Well, and if I'm Herbert, I think I'd rather maybe want to play for Pittsburgh more than the Chargers. A little bit more tradition. And here's the other thing. You're kind of lost out there because of the Rams. You're playing in the same place. You don't have a fan base.
It's like the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah,
let's share a house.
They need to put a stadium back in the heart of Manhattan. They do. Listen, when they were playing,
that would cost.
I know, but when they were playing at Shea, as bad as it was, man, just the wind swirling around, the jets flying over, and that guy by the name of Joe Namath throwing a hailstorm. Incredible. So we may have another stop. Stay tuned, but if not, don't forget Coons Quality Food Sports Reports this weekend, 5:15 a.m. in the morning, and every half hour until 7:45. And then a 2-hour edition of the Big Game Show brought to you by Coons Market. We've got one here in Hopewell. And the other place that you can get great hot dogs right here, as Frank Papa said many years ago, we just sell hot dogs, but nobody does it better. It's your Pratt Pack. Have a great rest of your night and enjoy your big game weekend.